Hi, I'm Ivonne,
And I'm Carlos.
and this is Ivonneplusone. We are starting our first episode in this hopefully long journey to go, and I always been very curious about the unknown and the mysterious ghost spooky stories like creatures, UFOs. So I wanted to explore all the legends from around the world, and I invited my husband here to come along in my journey. What do you think?
Sounds interesting.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
I get into it. I decided to go by state because that way I can narrow it. I'm going to start in the United States and expound around the world. And the first state that I have is Alabama.
Is it Alabama because of alphabetical order, or is there something particular about Alabama?
Just alphabetical, randomly.
Okay.
Just pick a state, go for it. And
Okay.
I just went for Alabama. Now, something that I like when I pick a state or an area that I want to explore, I always look at pictures of how pretty it is. Because, I mean, most part of the world has something pretty about it. And something that I found out that was fascinating about Alabama, apparently Alabama was the first state they had the 911 call.
Wow.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
And also, it's the first day they declare Christmas as a holiday.
Wow. Okay.
That they did that in like holiday for Christmas was 1836, so a long time ago. And the first call of 911 was made in 1968.
Wow.
Like you don't even think about it. You're so used to like if something happened, call 911 that you don't even think that it hasn't been that long. 1968 it's not that long at all.
Yep.
Anyhow, I wanted to explore a couple of spooky stories, ghost stories from Alabama, some cryptids, and some legends. So I'm gonna start with the Oakleigh Mansion.
Ugly mansion?
Yeah, it's ugly. No, it's not really ugly. It's the Oakleigh Mansion. It's actually
Oakleigh?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's actually pretty cool. It was designed and built in 1833 by James Roper in a 35 acres lot. He was just like a brick mason, a cotton factor, a dry good merchant. And as of course, it has passed through many people like owned the house throughout the years. It's very old. Today, it's like a historic antebellum museum that opened the doors in 1963. So if you go today in there, you can take a tour and kind of travel back in time and see how it used to be back in the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Now, people who work there or who have visited the museum have claimed to see some paranormal activities and a ghost. Actually, a couple of different ghosts.
People that work there as like the current tourist attraction?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even people who go visit it there said that they have seen or experienced any of the things that I'm going to tell you right now. They claim that there's a ghost, like in the front parlor, that they call them Miss Daisy.
Okay.
So even they give him a name.
Driving Miss Daisy reference, I guess.
She's supposed to be super gentle, super sweet. You feel her presence, but she's rarely seen.
Okay.
However, there's a male presence in the second parlor. The second is more aggressive. He's described as having like red chestnut color hair. And they believe he was either a victim of theft and then she's just trying to get revenge.
Wow.
They say in that parlor sometimes they come in the morning and they have found furniture move around, like the chairs are against the fireplace and things are move around without any explanation. And they are so used to it, they just kind of like put them back to where they are and just keep going with the day. They just kind of...
It's just another day-to-day
Exactly.
dealing with the
They
ghosts.
might working there and all of a sudden you go to open the museum and everything is in the wrong place. I will freak out. How long will you work there?
I mean, I guess if you never feel threatened, then maybe just let it go. It's just their day-to-day.
Yeah,
Like,
that's their approach. I don't know if I
There's
can do
enough
that.
movies out there to get, I guess, positive, ghost movies that some people might not care. They don't see everything negative.
Yeah. There's another ghost, lady ghost, that she's described of having like a white dress, like from that period of time, like kind of like see-through ghost that goes between the rooms and the library. They say sometimes they see her more often when there's a light from the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that it's even they see her more often on the time that she's supposed to die, but nobody know exactly when she dies. So, people make up a little bit of the story to make it more spooky. Now, they have reported to hear voices. They have also reported sometimes that somebody feel like they're like tapping in your shoulder or passing by and there's nobody around.
That would be annoying.
That would be creepy. Sometimes some people say that in the front part, like where the staircase are, you walk through and it's like you're walking through something, and like almost like when I read that, I felt like when you see Harry Potter and they pass through the ghosts, and you know how they go like
okay.
something like that. That there's something that when they walk through that area, they feel.
Weeping Myrtle, or what was it?
I don't know. I don't remember her name. They also have captured orbs or lights in different photographs, which is crazy. Now, people theorize who the lady on the white dress could be. Some say that she's a bride that died the day of her wedding or a couple of days before her wedding, and some say because of a fire. Some say because she was sick. Some say because they just don't know. Others say it's a widow from and that her husband died during the Civil War, and she's just trying to search for comfort and closure.
When you say they say, who's they?
Well, they never specify names, but they always say the people who go to the museum as visitors or people who work in there. And even they actually have paranormal investigators have gone to the house and tried to find, with all the electromagnetic machines and like the cameras and all that, they have gone to that place and they have seen stuff in there, which is very curious. Anyhow, that's some of the ghosty stories from the Oakleigh Museum Mansion, and if you want to go there, they do tours, and you can go and explore, travel back in time. It's actually quite like literally going back in time. Like you can see the rooms and the house, like everything was back in the 1800s.
That's cool.
And the other ghost stories that I have is from Old Cahawba. Now, Old Cahawba used to be the capital of Alabama between the 1820s to 1826. It is located what is today known as Dallas County in Alabama. However, because there used to be a lot of flooding in that area, they moved the capital to Tuscaloosa in 1826.
Wow.
So in between the floodings, the Civil War, the economy collapsing, people just left. And not only they left, it says there that actually they pick up the houses and move the houses to the new cities.
Wow.
There's still some houses in there, and so if you go today to that area, you can see like pieces of fireplace or columns. There's even a house from like the 1800s, like it's a 2-floor house, but it's boarded. You cannot go inside, but it's still standing, which is very, very cool.
All right.
Now, the ghost legend started when some people witnessed back during the war after Colonel Peakes, I think that's how you say it. After he died, some people say that there's some orbs around his house. So this event became known as the Peakes ghost, which is weird, right? I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. I'd say a lot of things wrong. So other people they go like nowadays say that they hear voices around them, or they see like shadows, or they feel like there's a presence there, like somebody's watching over them and they don't see who they are. Sometimes they see lights or orbs. They feel cold spots or changes in temperature. They
Similar
feel
pattern.
Yeah, they feel. Well, a lot of people say that when you are like in a presence of a like a spiritual presence, you might feel cold. Okay. They feel uneasy. Paranormal investigators have captured electromagnetic like noises or abnormalities.
Abnormalities.
There you go. That's how you say it. Now, some people say it's just residual hauntings from all the tragic things that happen in that area, from like the death from the flooding or the Civil War.
Could be anything, basically.
Could be anything. But others say that before that became that town, it used to be inhabited by Native Americans, and it could be that it was a land with spiritual significance, and it's a sacred ground, and that's what they're feeling like. That's what is haunting that ghost city.
Okay.
You can also take tours and see these ruins today. What do you think about this one? We've been
Very
to a ghost
similar.
town. You remember? In
Was it
California? Yeah. Calico.
Calico. It was a ghost town?
It was a ghost. Well, it's very touristic nowadays, but it's supposed to be a ghost town. It was a mining
Yeah. I remember.
ghost town, and they have it pretty cool. They have like you have like the old stores and
I
all
wonder
that.
if it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is more ruins, like in the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
From a little ghost, we're gonna go from the legend of Hugging Molly. Hugging Molly.
Hugging? Like she hugs you?
Yeah.
Okay.
What does it sound like? Because the first time I read that name, something popped into my head.
I don't know. I had nothing.
The first time I read this, I mean, if you have kids, you might know of Huggy Wuggy. Now I can picture it.
I think I remember Huggy Wuggy. Is that Roblox? No, that's a different game.
No, that's like, they have a version in Roblox, but it's like that blue little.
Oh, yeah, it's
you
like
remember?
a monster looking thing.
Yeah, that's what the first picture they pop into my head when I
Huggy
read
Wuggy,
that.
okay.
Huggy Wuggy. Well, this is supposed to be a legend from Abbeville, Alabama. Okay, it says that it's like a mysterious and malevolent figure known as Hugging Molly, who's said to emerge at night and target children who are out late. She's described as a tall shadow woman dressed in dark clothing. Her appearance is said to be unsettling, with some accounts mention glowing eyes or a face hidden in the shadows. The most distinctive feature of Hugging Molly is her tendency to approach children who are out late at night. Just imagine that.
Yeah.
She is known to move silently and swiftly, often appearing suddenly in dim-lit areas of dark alleys. When she encounters a child who is out past their bedtime or disobeying their parents' warning, she reportedly gives them a tight, suffocating hug.
Wow.
The embrace is said to be so intense that the child feels paralyzed with fear. After the encounter, the Hugging Molly vanished as quickly as she arrived, leaving the frightened child to rush home and never venture out late at night. What would you do if that happens to you? Just imagine a kid of around anywhere from like 7 to 12 years old, being at 9 playing, and all of a sudden a dark figure hug you.
That would be traumatizing.
I would say, like, I will not even get out of my house during the daytime.
Yeah. That would be hard, yeah. I'm not a big fan of the darks. Neither are my kids, so.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
and I just picture,
nowadays,
like,
no.
because I just picture this being, like, a long time ago where maybe there was not as much light as there is today. Like, it was dark and
Yeah.
you were in the forest, like, in wooden areas, like, when kids were late past bedtime because that's what they did. Not like today, the kids are all the time inside. So it must be crazy. Now, there's a couple of theories of this legend was created, and the most possible one being that it was a cautionary tale to keep children from wandering the streets after dark. Parents in the small town of Abbeville used the story as a way to ensure that the children safely and prompt them to return home before nightfall, and that the story was just passed throughout generation. The other one, it says that maybe Hugging Molly was a mom who lost a child and is trying to protect kids from being hurt. It's just in a spooky way. But today, like,
It's effective.
It will be effective. Like, some people claim that this really happens, And this town had really embraced this legend. Like they even have like signs about it and all.
Oh, wow.
It is crazy. There is a restaurant, I think, that is called Huggin, and you can go and they tell you all about this legend.
That reminds me. Oh, that one movie from Disney, the one with the witches, the Halloween one.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, didn't they have like where the town was already like?
Yeah,
They were
everybody
famous.
knew. Yeah,
They were
everybody
famous.
knew about
And there was
them.
like history and
It's something
gift
like that.
shop and all that. That's
I said if
and
we
then it
ever
turns
go,
out to be true or something.
yeah, I said if we ever go to Alabama, we had to check out that restaurant.
I would consider.
I'm making like my
It's a
bucket.
restaurant.
I think it's a restaurant. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think.
I mean, is it a working restaurant?
I think so.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I think I'm making a bucket list, like as I research all these things of places that we might
It'll
check.
be interesting clips.
I know, like when I went to visit whatever, it will be. It is interesting. Like I'm looking for other places too, and yeah, there's a lot of places that I will add to our bucket list when we travel the world. So hopefully, it will be in the United States and around the world. Okay, so the next one is a cryptid, which also
What is a cryptid?
a cryptid is
Because I've never heard of this word prior to
me
you.
telling you. Well, it's like an animal who people have claimed to see. However, there's no definitive like saying this is a dog. You know what I mean? This is like just people claim to see something that looks like an animal and describe it, but there's no known official source of what it is. Kind of like Bigfoot.
Okay.
Okay. Now.
Werewolves are included into this thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So Choccolocco Monster. What does it sound?
Rebecca.
What does it sound to you?
Choccolocco Monster. Yeah, I guess it's some chocolate crazy monster.
Well, for
Reminds me of
me, you
Pollo
know,
Loco.
exactly. When I heard this, I first think of
What is
it
Pollo Loco? Is it the whole country or it's only California has Pollo Loco?
Pollo Loco is actually from Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and they used to
fast
have a
food
commercial when I was like before a long time ago. They said something like. De único mejor a un pollo loco es otro pollo loco y ya.
All right.
I still remember that. It's been like, I don't know, probably 20 years.
Yeah, commercials work.
And I still remember that.
So what about it? Does it anything have to do with loco?
No, not really.
Loco or
It's just
choco?
because, or chocolate, no.
Chocolate.
It's the location. Apparently, the Choccolocco Monster is said to be found in the Choccolocco Mountains near Anniston, Alabama.
Interesting.
I didn't even know that exists, and it's quite beautiful. But like you say, the name almost suggests something chocolatey, but no.
Maybe there's a reason why it's called Chocoloco. Did we research this?
Why is it called?
Why it's called Chocoloco?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. That's a good
curious.
point. Yeah. It has a lot of woods, hills, rocky terrains. It looks beautiful. People go hiking and camping in that area. A lot of people say they don't know where this monster origin came, or they say that all started in 1969 when some people claim that they saw at the edge of the road a large creature standing up anything between 7 to 10 feet tall. It's said to be covered in a long, dark, and reddish-brown hair. And some people say they had red eyes. They mention that it had like a very bad odor. And they moved very swiftly and steadily throughout the wilderness.
Sounds like a Bigfoot story. Yeah,
It kind of is. Like I started researching different states. There's like a version of a Bigfoot with a different name almost everywhere.
Interesting.
Now, the funny part about this is that in 2001, a guy named Neil Williamson said that he actually was a Choccolocco Monster. He said that when he was 15 years old, he got bored and he just kind of sneaked out of his house and drove to the woods. And he put a cloth over his shoulder, and he had a big skull of a cow, and he waited for a car to pass by. And when the car passed by, he kind of ran to a point where they can see it, holding the skull like above his head, and kind of make sure that they saw it, and then ran back. Some even say that later on he invited some friends, and there were more than one.
Did he have friends in every state?
No, in every.
Because I'm saying
no,
that's
no, in
the
that
legend
area.
Of Bigfoot right
and that's
here.
there you go.
It's been
And
debunked.
He said that was him, right? And people were, that was in 2001, and this original was like in 69. People were hunting for him. Like a lot of people group and start hunting for this creature because it was seen a lot of times. And he said eventually that he stopped doing it because somebody started shooting at him.
Got lucky then, huh?
So we actually...
Okay, but the story is older than him, right?
The
So
story is from the 1960,
He just kind of
1970.
faked the later parts, but the original story is not him. Can't be.
Well, it could be.
It could be him, the original story. He has the age for that.
Yeah. He was older when he said it. So this happened supposedly when he was 15 years old.
Okay.
And now in 2001, which I don't know how old he was in that time, he claimed to be that person. So technically it could be that it was him, or other people say no, it's something unknown. And people still go to these mountains trying to see if they can find the Choccolocco Monster.
Interesting. Has there been recent sightings?
Not that I found.
Oh, okay.
Not that I found.
It was just him.
Yeah.
All the time.
And then the last cryptid that I have from Alabama, there's way too much more things to explore, but I just put a few that I found. It's the Alabama white Thang.
Thang?
Yeah. Thang.
Not Fang.
I am trying to pronounce it well, but who knows?
Thang.
Thang.
Okay.
Okay. This legend, it's been since the 1900s. It's been around since the 1900s. And it's another one that is kind of like a Bigfoot kind of guy. It says to be living around the wood areas, making sighting more likely on rural or wilderness locations. It is said that it's a massive beast standing tall in two legs, covered in thick, snowy white fur that seemed to glow in the moonlight. So this one is kind of like, instead of being dark brown, it's just like white fur.
Interesting. Reminds me of that monster in the Matterhorn. What was that monster? The one that's in the Disneyland, right? That's like the snowy mountain one.
Yeah, like Bigfoot and Littlefoot.
That's Bigfoot?
Yeah.
No.
Because it was in the snow.
It has a different name, I believe. The snowy one. Like it's a different one.
I don't remember.
No, I'm gonna look that up because now I have to remember that. But yeah, that one is from, I think, in Europe, right? Because I think that mountain is supposed to be in Europe somewhere.
Like the Jeddah?
Yeti.
Yeti?
The Yeti. The Jeddah. That's a car.
Or maybe Star Wars.
Oh yeah. I don't know. No, that's Jedi. Oh my god.
Well,
We're just so off. We're going everywhere with this.
There you go.
But anyways, yeah. So it's a white
Yes. But
Bigfoot looking thing, but it's white.
in Alabama.
And Alabama it doesn't snow.
Yeah. Well, not
Does
that I know.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyhow, he is. Some people say that he looks like an ape, a bear, and some even say they look like a white lion, like the face. It says to be very intimidating. That it stands in two legs, but it runs in four, and it's super speedy and agile. Other people say that as the previous one, it has like a full odor, and it makes a loud scream. Some people say it screams loud like a woman. Some people say just like howls.
Okay.
Today, well, of course, nobody have proof if it exists or it doesn't, and some people still try to see if they can capture it or capture a picture of it. But that's all the legends and cryptids and ghost stories that I have from Alabama from right now, but now I want to read to you some stories that people have submitted online of their experience with any of these things.
Okay. But they're not from Alabama?
This one I tried to find something from Alabama. So the ones that I'm reading today, they are from Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This one is from CM Palmer 52. He says, probably 20 years ago, we were visiting my sister-in-law on the Gunstersville State Park campground. We left after dark, and our kids were in the back seat sleeping. The road out of the campground were dark, twisty, and heavily wooded. We pulled up to a T intersection and crossed the way. In the ditch beside the road at the tree line, there was a huge albino Bengal tiger eating a dead deer. At least that's what I saw, and it made my blood run cold. I couldn't even speak. I saw it, and as I was making a turn, and the headlights swept over it. My rational mind kicked in, and I thought it was probably a dog or maybe even some white trash bags. But I saw its eyes and bloody mouth. Then I looked over to my wife, and she was pale and clutching the seat rest. I finally say, "Did you see that?" She said shakily, "Yes, I saw something." Without prompting her as to what I thought I saw, I said, "What did it look to you?" She said, "It looked like a big white tiger eating a deer." To this day, I hate myself for not turning around. Well, honestly, I was too freaked out. That's my white Thang story. I heard people say it was humanoid or giant wolf, a bear, a big white cat, or just something large and white moving through the woods. I'm skeptical, and that's the only cryptid experience I ever had. But it is weird that if it was a dog or some discarded trash, my wife and I misinterpreted it exactly the same way. What do you think? Would you have turned around?
I mean, no. I'm just not that interested, I guess, in that. I would assume there would have been like a mountain lion, because I know there's mountain lions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about white tiger or whatever. Maybe just the lighting of the situation, or it could be an albino, something genetically messed up where, like mountain lions are kind of light from what I've seen. They're not always dark, so I would have assumed that. It's called white Thang.
Exactly. Well, and I feel like if you kind of know the story too, and you see something like that, your brain kind of like goes through that place, If you know the legends of the area and you see something like that, maybe it will be like, oh my God, I saw the white thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, it's probably dark and spooky anyhow, and you're probably tired too.
Yeah.
Now, there's some ghost stories experience that I like to share too. This one is for Sear Weir. So he started by describing where he works. Say, yes, I get to tell my ghost experiences, complete with video. So if you want to see the video, I'll put the link below so you can kind of go back to where this was original.
There's a video about it?
I didn't see the video. I mean, there was supposed to be like a link, but it was like grayed out. I mean, you couldn't click on it. Okay. So I work in Huntsville First UMC, a block of downtown courthouse. Church has been there since 1832, hosted the Union troops during the Civil War. One accidentally knocked a lantern over and sent the church up in fire. Was revealed fairly close in footprint to the original and have been expanded on ever since. There was a war infirmary where one expansion now is, and we used to store bodies in the church before funeral cars became a thing. Safe to say, there were a bunch of dead bodies here over the years, and I become a little numb to the sight of one due to the sheer number of funerals I helped the clergy with. So this is where he works, basically in the church. So he shared the stories that he had experienced. So the first story says, anyway, when I first started working here 2 years ago, my coworkers found out I was a night owl and warned me not to go to the hall where the infirmary once was at night. I didn't believe in ghosts. Felt like spirits went off to the afterlife and had no choice in staying, so I shrugged it off. A few nights later, and I'm at the church at 11 p.m.ish doing work, and I figure, hey, me, let's go prove to myself that there aren't any ghosts in these halls. Boy, was I mistake. I got up. Well, I'm reading what he said. He wrote mistake. I got up the stairs and through the maze of a building to the aforementioned hall. I take one step around the corner and I'm welcomed with a hole so pitch black that it is beyond seeing down. Like, I can explain how dark it was. I rounded a corner to these holes and had to step back because I thought I had a rush-induced blackout. I pushed forward after confirming that I was not the issue. Got 5 steps down the hall and was overwhelmed with the presence screaming at every instant I had to go away. Do you think he left or he stayed?
The way he's setting it up, he stayed. People just can't resist.
He left.
Oh.
He says, so I left. I was like, oh no, he left. He stayed. Figure I could go back in the daytime when the sun could give some ambience bouncing light. So I come back the next day. Coworkers were elsewhere in the building, but that was enough to give me comfort. I started walking the now visible hallway with a forced self-affirmation bravery. These hallways had wall AC units, about 4 or 5 of them, as well as a door along one side that went into once used Sunday school classroom. This was still lockdown COVID times. As I walk, each unit turned off as I passed them. I picked up the pace and got to the end of the hallway. Congratulations me, woo-hoo-doo. I touched the end of the non-haunted hallway to prove absolutely nothing. I turned back and started quickly walking back to the normal area of the church. As I walked, I heard a second, then a third, then a fourth set of different footsteps in the classroom as I passed them. The hallway still gave me a terrible feeling whenever I got near it. And we even moved several of the classes or groups to use the hallway less. Have you been in a place that you feel like that?
No.
I remember.
Oh, maybe as a kid. I don't remember though.
I remember when I used to go to my friend's Dariela's house, that I always felt something heavy there. Something like...
I mean, I was there, but I never noticed it.
I always felt like something spooky. I never saw anything. I never heard anything, but I always felt uneasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I don't recall any situations.
No?
I don't recall any, no.
So the second story that he has, so I didn't learn my lesson about working at the church at night. Yay, me! I'm sitting at the computer that we use for our live stream. This time it's like 1 a.m. each. And I got my dog with me for company. I'm typing away and suddenly I heard a muffled female scream. It was fast enough to not tell me where it came from. But I was near a window and figured it came from outside. The scream sounded like one of fear, not playful, so I left my dog at the computer and ran outside to see what was happening. It was Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Not a soul was on Green, Clinton, or Randolph. I guess that's the streets. I thought it was strange, but whatever. I went back inside and headed back up to the computer. As I came into the room, my dog was spooked by me coming in. He's a baby, but he never has an issue with people entering a room or knocking on doors, so this caught my attention. I pet him, say it was okay, and go back to work. A few minutes later, I heard the scream again. It's long this time, long, high-pitched, muffled, and very much coming from inside the building. Now, I can't emphasize this enough. This church is locked up tighter than 4 knocks, most times to my great agitation. With you needing both a key card and a hard key to get most anywhere in non-open hours. No one was downtown. No one would be at the church at this time of night. And no one has the key to get where the scream is coming from. I grabbed my dog, shut down the computer, and started to Bravo 6 my way out of the building, cleaning each corner with clenched fists and gritted teeth. I get out, get in my car, and I'm gone. I will be freaked out. First of all, I will never be in a building, like a working place, in the middle of the night by myself.
Yeah.
Because even if
asking for it.
Exactly, even if it's a new building, just being there is creepy.
That's usually the first guy who dies in a movie.
That's
like
true.
at the beginning. And then you have to figure out what happened.
Yeah, it's like, why? Why would you do that? Work during the daytime. I don't know. Like, I only dare be in my house by myself at dark because it's my house. But I wouldn't be anywhere, especially at church. And especially with that history of all the death and all that. I just wouldn't. Well, he said, scary enough, right? Well, a week passed and I have to get into the history room. Again, the church is old, so we keep a nice room the people are free to come see that has a portrait of every senior pastor we had. One of the original bell towers, flywheels, the original Bible, the original baptismal font. You get the drift. A bunch of cool stuff that I wish every old building had. Well, I pull out my key, turn the knob, and open the door. Screech! The hinge screamed. That sound, what I thought was a person screaming for help, was the door that was way louder than it had any business being. Oh, great, I thought. It wasn't a scream, except, who the F opened the locked door at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday night?
I got a little bit of chills on that one.
No, me too, right?
I did not expect that.
I did too. and like you say, not only who the heck opened that door, but also who supposed to be locked.
Yeah.
Like,
well, obviously something was going on, but it was funny that he thought he was he was in the clear, and then boom, you get destroyed again. That's the worst.
And that's the third one from him. This one, is the one that I say has a video, but I mean, it was a link, but I couldn't see it, so I'm not sure. So I say, I still didn't learn my lesson. So I'm headed into work at night, one night around midnight. Yeah, I know. Not the smartest. HSB FUMC has 2 buildings. The new one at the northeast of Green and the traditional one on the southwest side. I still, to this day, run to the northeast building for late night productivity. I never had an odd experience in there, and it's like any other building. So I'm working in the northeast building and got done with whatever I was working on, so I headed over to the office in the southwest building, where the creepy stuff happens. The moment I step in, everything was off. Not like no one home off, like no power to the building off. Well, I just wanted to drop something off at the in-drive staff office mailbox, so I'll drop it off and split. I headed to the office using the street lights pouring in through the windows, and then I heard it. Beep, 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 electronic beeping. Beep, 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 beep. In the rhythm of a heart? I follow my ear and find it. A small weather radio sat on the window edge. Well, jokes on my creepy radio. I got a camera on my phone, and I'm about to get evidence of the weird things that happen at the church. I pulled out my phone and started recording. The moment I started recording, it stopped beating like a heartbeat and swapped to 3 beats. Beep, 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 beep. I'm speaking to one of the clergy I was going to send the video to and verbally take notes of the change in cadence. Well, almost as if you say, yeah, watch this. It stutter stepped into a continued frenzy. Beep, 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 beep. Great. I stopped recording and left. And that was the last time I've been in the old Southwest building at night. It's been about a year and change since then, and even during the day, I tend to steer clear of certain areas. Notably, the sanctuary always felt safe. Passing through the double doors into the giant room gave a wave of relief and security, but exiting back to the hall felt like stepping into a coffin. He said, hope you enjoy, and let me see if you want to take a tour of the church.
Sure.
Yeah, let me be right there.
Already.
Especially in the middle of the night. Let's go together. They do in Halloween time. Mm-hmm. I don't know if in this church, but in Halloween time, a lot of they do what's the name, like tours, like ghost tours to places they're supposed to be haunted. And some people say they have very weird experiences, like in different places. I don't know if I would dare to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
I mean, I like hearing about it. I don't want to experience them.
Yeah, that's just not my type of entertainment. I know some people love that. But...
I like reading about them, but no. Okay, this one is, I say, my only paranormal experience from rural Alabama cemetery. That's for Unique Bus 397. Let me start this by saying I, male 18, fully believe in the paranormal. I've always believed the stories and fully welcomed the opportunity for experience to happen to me. Despite this, I never had a paranormal experience until 2 years ago, and I haven't really had one since. For context, I live in ultra-rural Alabama. When I say ultra-rural, I mean even the closest Dollar General is almost 20 minutes away. I live in the foot of a heavily wooded mountain. The further you drive up, the less populated it becomes. Even though I live in the spot for my entire life, I had never driven up the mountain just because there was no need. The city was in the opposite direction of the mountain. From what I knew about going up, you just drop up and pass a few houses and eventually hit a dead end and will have to turn around. Well, one day I had a friend over and we decided we wanted to hop on a golf cart and take a little joyride up the mountains. We drove for about 30 minutes. Granted, this golf cart only goes 25 miles per hour max. And we had only rarely seen some beautiful forests and passed a couple of properties. But at this point, we came up a spot in the road with a clearing off to the right. As we got closer, we realized it was a cemetery. I pulled over into the cemetery and turned my golf cart off. The main reason for this was curiosity. I had no idea there was a cemetery up the mountains, and it was strange to me considering we barely had anybody living in the mountain, much less this far up. So my friend and I hopped out in the car and started walking toward the grave. Like I say, I fully believe in spirits and being respectful toward the dead, but my friends didn't at the time. So I'm respectfully looking around, reading the markers, attending to stay a 6-foot distance from the headstone so I wasn't walking on the top of the grave. Well, here goes my friend on her phone, walking all over the graves. I think she even cracked a couple of jokes about the names on some of the headstones. Some of them were kind of weird, considering the people died in the 1800s and early 1900s. After I sufficiently explored, I started walking back to the car. Out loud, I declared, half joking, "Thank you, ghosts, for letting us walk around your space. Sorry we walk all over your graves." My friends yelled at me, fuck them ghosts. I rolled my eyes, but honestly, I felt slightly shivers down my spine after she said it. It was kind of nervous at this point. We both hopped back into the golf car, and I turned the key. Of course, it wouldn't start. I turned the key multiple times, but it seems like the battery was dead. For the 3 years I had owned these golf cars, I never had an issue with it. So in my non-skeptic brain, I immediately felt that it was happening because of what my friends said about the ghost. But honestly, at this point, I was scared. What do you think? No.
Don't mess with the ghost.
I didn't want to believe what I was thinking. So I decided to call my dad for help. I checked my service and I had 2 bars, so I was good on cell signal. I called him and the phone rang 5 times before he answered. I heard nothing on the other end, so I say, "Hello?" And I could hear heavy, raspy breathing in response. As soon as my brain slightly processed what I was hearing, my dad hung up. I tried to call him back, but my cell signal had now dropped off completely, even though I hadn't moved at all. So at this point, even my friend looked scared. We've been thinking the same thing. I'm beginning to hyperventilate, and I laid my head down on the steering wheel and I just began to pray out loud to protect and help starting the car. I tell my friends to pray as well, and she says, "Please let the car start. I'm sorry for what I said." I turn the key, the car starts, and I peel out of there as fast as possible. When I get home, my dad is outside working on one of his projects. My friend and I walk up to him and I asked him why he hung up on me because I needed help. He said he never received a call from me. I told him that was impossible because he picked up and I heard him breathing over the phone. He showed me his recent calls and he had no calls or missed calls from me. This was almost 3 years ago, and I haven't been back to the cemetery or had any other paranormal experiences since then.
Bad.
Yeah. That's another one that gives me spookies. I don't know why I don't like cemeteries. I always say if I die, don't just cremate me. I don't want to be in a cemetery. It's
And then
creepy
put you
to
on
me.
a shelf.
Put me on a shelf, spread me around the world. I don't know. Let me be free.
Okay.
I don't want to be. I don't know.
Visited.
I found them creepy, for some reason.
I guess you don't have that much experience with them, right? Like your families.
No, my dad was cremated, and I mean my grandparents were buried, but they live in Mexico, and we were living in Venezuela, so we never visited them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a lot, but the few times that I have gone,
I'm not a huge fan of them either, but my dad did used to visit my grandma a lot. And then
Did you used to go as a kid?
Yeah.
You did?
Once in a while.
And did it creep you out or not really?
No.
No?
Daytime. Never at night.
Yeah. I think that makes a difference too.
Yeah.
Like even if I was a little kid and like my friends say, "Hey, let's go check out the cemetery." No,
like,
thank you.
We were just watching some of those movies or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, let's just." I mean, obviously it's a movie, but who does that? Like even me and my.
I mean, I know there's people who do those kind of things, but I just.
Nah.
No, it's that respect and also. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to bring anything home. I don't know. I think this is the last one that I have, but okay. And this one it says, "There is something in my house. It is about 4 feet tall. I can't see it, but my cats can. And I can follow its movements by watching them. Generally, the 3 of them sit far apart, so it's easy to tell exactly where they are looking." Can you imagine that? Like you know something is there because your pets are like looking. No? Whenever I get a new cat, they are afraid of it at first, but get used to it. When it first got active, it would move things on my bedside table. It was creepy with me being right next to it. When I played CDs, I could play anything except Gamaliel music. I don't even know what Gamaliel music is. Do you? The volume would go up and down. One night, when I was trying to go to sleep, it started doing that. So I called out, "Please stop it. I really need to get some sleep." The volume went back to normal and stayed that way. The next time I played Gamaliel, the player turned off in the middle of a song. After that, it was like it tried to be helpful. I got up one morning to find my reminder note about my appointment that day laying in front of my door. I had forgotten about it. That sort of thing happened several times. Then 3 guys attempted to break in my front door in the middle of the night. Oh, wow. But it stopped them. It pulled a relief sculpture of the wall and threw it. It was on a hook and it was silicone to the wall to keep it from shifting. It was a medieval green men's sculpture. Oh, that's crazy. It made a long bang like a gunshot, and the bad guys ran away. It was so loud that my neighbor heard it and looked out to see the 3 men running away. So it kind of safer. When I got out of the shower one day, there was a cat drawing on the mirror. Round head with 2 triangles ear, button nose with an X for the whiskers, tail curled up to one side. I got my camera and took a photo, of course. The image had faded a lot by that time. I took the picture, but you still can see a lot of it. I rescued a hurt kitty when it came in the room. The new kitty was totally terrified and ran under the bed. She was literally shaking in fear. Oh, poor little cat. After several nights of this, I called out loud that it was scaring the poor cat too much. I told it to please leave the room. Watching the cats, I could see that it did, and it stayed out for about a week. When next it came in, judging by the cats, it was only about 2 feet tall, crouching down. It was not quite as scary to the new cat. She did not run, but did hide behind me. When she did not seem to be getting used to it, I called out that I appreciate the effort to be less frightened, but the poor cat was still scared. After that, it seems to stay in my workroom. It sets off the motion detecting light. It is a pet-free zone, so it's not them. It moves things while I work and once pushed a sheaf of paper off a shelf. I live in West Mobile, Alpine Hills. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Cool story.
Cool story. I don't know. I love hearing stories like that. I love hearing anything. There is ghost stories, hopefully not too creepy, like where there's a presence but nobody's getting hurt. I love hearing UFO stories and like weird cryptic animal sightings, some true crime and all these things. I find them very curious. I would love to hear from any of you if you have any of these stories or any encounters with anything like that. Let's share it together. You can send it to Ivonneplusone@gmail.com and I can read them for everybody to find your story. What else do you want to tell them?
No. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and that really helps us a lot. We're just starting out, so any help in that way, recommend us to people if you think they'll find it interesting, and we'll continue to
exploring
weekly,
the crazy
new areas, different countries, different states, different things.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. Like I am starting to research other places and I'm fascinated. I want to share them with you, and I hope you share your stories with us, and we'll keep exploring together. Thank you for joining us. We are very excited, and
Awesome.
We hope to see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.